Hey, what's going on, everyone? This your boy Freeze, and a little bit later in the week than usual. But welcome to the weekly live stream. Today I'm gonna talk a little bit about the tournament that we got going on, the Unicron League War tournament that's upcoming. There are currently a bunch of teams that are starting to test out those features on the live server, and honestly, man, it's pretty challenging. I'll talk about where we came from in the playtest process regarding anything with the Unicron League. And I also want to have a little bit of an update on the next set of endurance bots. So, and I can already see some people talking in the chat. So, a couple of things. So, the first thing is we haven't gotten the bots in test yet. So, just to put that out there ahead of time, we hadn't gotten them yet. We did get some info about the concept of how they want to proceed with those endurance bots. So, we'll talk about that. I'll express some of my concerns, and I've already expressed those concerns in the playtest chat. And we can see what you guys think and if there's anything that you want specifically, because honestly, right now we're on a pretty short time crunch as far as getting the bot ready on time. So we'll see how that goes. So we'll be talking concept only. Hopefully by the time Wednesday comes around, I got the bots in my hand and we can do a little bit of gameplay on Wednesday, doing a regularly scheduled stream. And we'll see how that goes. Obviously, I postponed earlier in the week because of Valentine's Day. I took Mrs. Freeze out. We went to go, had a good time. Went out to go get some sushi, chill out, did the whole flowers candy thing, stuff like that. So nothing too crazy, but I just definitely wanted to let Mrs. Freeze know that she's appreciated. So we did that whole thing. But anyway, even though it's still kind of late in the week, um, we'll hit the newsletter real quick for this week's event, which I've actually completed the event already, guys. a lot of people were a lot of people were tripping out in the Horde line chat yesterday because I was like, it's about 8 or 9 o'clock, and I was like, hey man, here's my new 5-star lockdown. But yeah, I was working on some bots for my war team, including one that was a lot of people. It's not that popular to people. You guys that are on my Discord, you know who I'm talking about. But for some of you other guys that might not necessarily have caught the Discord, there's a particular bot that I'm working on specifically for the war tournament that I think should start to catch some steam. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But we'll talk about the event. And while we're talking about the event, let me know in the chat, how far have you gotten through the event so far? Like I said, I completed it around 8 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Eastern last night, somewhere in that window. And if you have the 3, 4, 5-star version, the reworked versions, what do you think of them? Damn, Big Blade, why you gonna tell all my secrets, bro? Like, he was like, what bot I'm talking about? I said, I try to keep some suspense. Big Blade was like, yeah, it's junk heap, isn't it? Nah, man, like it's all good. I said, you know, I love talking to you guys, man, and that's like, but yeah, the bot that I was talking about is Junk Heap, so we're gonna go through that and be like how I use Junk Heap a little bit. I might actually go to my live server a little bit to show a little bit about how the endurance event has been going. I mean, it's not, excuse me, not the endurance event, but the Unicron tournament trials, because right now we're in the test phase of it. Um, there's some things I'd like to see them add, but we'll talk about that in a bit. All right, so this event, obviously, like I said, I completed, got all these wonderful prizes and stuff like that. So, I mean, the prizes, it wasn't a whole lot there, just lots of spark. I wound up going, maxing out on spark over the weekend, and so I had to go. I had to go run some of that spark into some of my bots, which is cool because now I'm working on side project bots. I'm not really working on my war team that much, with the exception of rank skips, um, so stuff like that. But you get plenty of spark, combiner spark to go around. A few 5-star shards, but they had a lot of the total spark crystals in here toward the end. I really enjoyed those. That allowed me to go skip a couple of ranks, as well as I got a bunch of total spark crystals at this point. I think I'm up to 122, which I don't always open those right away because I'm scared that I'm gonna go over on spark. I'm always real high on spark, so I'm gonna have to go spark my new bot. Probably spark the new lockdown I just got. See how that goes. And a lot of times I have to wait until I donate, and so in order to use all my spark. Typical battle zones. Um, we had some graphics in here showing the new Huffer and Lockdown. I really like them a lot. Now, for me, as a top player, a top 5 player, I'm not using him necessarily in wars, but I do like the concept a lot. It's one of my favorite projects for the entire. Well, we're just in the beginning of the new year, but I like the legacy. I like the legacy batch projects. If you guys weren't aware, Drift and Barricade, those changes are already live as well. I was talking to some teammates earlier, and they were saying, it was mixed reviews on them. Some of them really, really like them. Some of them don't. I'm in the mindset of I actually like the Drift and Barricade changes, so works out pretty good. They actually got this convenient little chart to tell you some of the differences between the 4-star versus the 5-star. So if you hadn't checked out the newsletter, check it out. Like I talked about last week on the stream, two G1s and two ability 11s has got two abilities now, that rupture beam and then the healing beam, which the healing beam is on point. I really like that a lot. That's one of the best changes I think they could have made to Huffer and Lockdown. And then they had some frequently asked questions, most of which I think I covered in the last couple of weeks of streams. Uh, Thoughts for the playtesters. Um, you know, Legacy Batch is what it is. Legacy Batch is a good opportunity to rework some of the bots. For some of the bots that are not 5 stars prior to the project, like Lockdown and Huffer, then you're getting that additional opportunity to 5-star. I know a lot of guys at the top level were saying they weren't playing this event this weekend. Perfectly okay. I actually had some of my teammates laugh at me for playing in the event and completing the event. Now I'm leveling bots. We got a Unicron tournament coming up, so for me, I actually had like I was telling you guys last week, my first YouTube checks coming in, and so I'm sliding that money into my budget so I can do this event and the endurance event. So I definitely wanted to go work on Junk Heap. Maxed out Octo Punch this weekend. Um, I think I'm good and set for the Unicron tournament so far, but it might be a couple of little changes that I want to make, depending on what I see as people adjust their bases. Like I mentioned, Drift and Barricade are also got their reworked versions going. The key thing here is they gave him a lot of damage, and particularly with his ability. And I didn't show it before, but they got that new G1, and the new G1 I can actually show off while in Enraged, because Enraged is the new ability that you have for these bots. You're gonna gain damage, lifesteal, attack speed, and movement speed. So I can actually show that off. I hadn't showed that off on a stream. Don't let me forget, guys, because I have a tendency to do that for times, because I didn't actually plan on putting that into my live stream script. My goodness, I can't talk today. Into my live stream script today, but definitely can throw that in there because I just realized that I didn't talk about it. Well, that was the ability 11. They actually says ability 11 new G1, but yeah, they got both a new ability 11 new G1s, and the new G1 your attacks heal you for the damage done. Your attack speeds increase drastically, so it actually made them look better than what it was when I showed them to you on the stream before. All right, so they said they obviously they're still going to be legacy batch. They said the update is that This is a community project by the community managers, and they're doing it for the community. So they're going to be initiating a vote for next month. And here's the thing: is because if you saw my interview with Dale, he's obviously got a list of bots that he wants to put in the legacy batch, but they're going to allow a vote so we can get some bots that we want to get into the batch as well. Now I know that I was watching. I didn't get to watch it live. I was watching Sunstreak Owaza yesterday morning when I was having breakfast, and he seems. Now, I tend to agree with him on this, that we are going to probably wind up seeing people who want to go for Rampage for this one. We're getting into the point where, if you saw our interview with my interview with Dale, um, there was a really strong suggestion that we start to pick up the bots that complete 5-star combiners. So I think that Waza will hit that nail on the head, and people are going to start looking for Rampage. They're also going to be working on Nose Cone and Drillhorn G1. And yeah, so, and Space Ape wants you to know, to let them know how you feel about these legacy projects. I've seen a lot of people say that legacy batches are kind of a waste of time, but I will say this: I don't think they're a waste of time personally. I like them a lot. Um, I do have my concerns about the 5-star events, but at the same time, those 5-star events are allowing you to produce more 5-star batches, or not necessarily batches, but they'll allow you to produce more 5 stars at a faster rate. Which, that is, to be honest with you, something that Space Eight promised us that they were going to do. That we're going to find a way to make more 5 stars. So that's good. Let's see, Unicron Championship. So they are going to be, I think it's going to be 16 teams that are going to go into this Unicron Championship. I'm really looking forward to it. I wasn't quite good enough to get up in the ranks last time they had a Unicron tournament. This time I'm in the Horde, so I will be playing in it, and so there's going to be coverage of that on my channel as we get through that championship. It'll be fun, see some of the top players just duke it out. Much harder effects. You can actually see the rules up here where in normal mode it's going to be 20% extra health points and damage per second. There's going to be a 20% life steal to all defenses. Build bots. Now, this is the one for me. Build bots are going to have a 20% ability damage shield to any of the adjacent buildings. And this is the focal point for me as I prepare for the Unicron tournament, because there are going to be defenses that you would be able to one shot with certain bots that you're not going to be able to do that with anymore. And if there's something to focus on, it's that. Now, in hard mode, add another 10% health points and DPS. Um, there's a 15% attack speed to cannons, mortars, and lasers. That actually started out as a large range increase, and they actually had started out with they actually had started out with something where the combiners were at like 75% of their normal damage and stuff. Like, it was crazy. But this is what we came up with. They chilled out a little bit, and so you're gonna have two sharks, excuse me, spawn when a building is destroyed, and they will explode on impact. All right, we got G2 Jazz and G2 Mixmaster for the Cyber Pass. Check out all of your content creators, Engineer Horse, myself, Soldier, who I just saw in the chat. So make sure you guys check out all of his stuff, as well as, of course, Sunstreak Awaza. Soldier actually has some really good videos out on Huffer and Lockdown, so make sure that you watch those as well. And like I mentioned, we're 2 weeks away from the Alliance Endurance event for those new bots. Um, we got to get a move on as far as playtesting and stuff like that. Community corner, cool as always. Nice artwork. Oops, they got a nice little collection down there. That's my dude down there in the bottom. They got that large blast off down there. They also got my dude Captain America in there, so that's dope. Representing Marvel. Bug fixes and improvements. You get the melee bots going to be able to use their melee combats in the outpost. Space 8 have been talking about that for a bit. And that is the news for this week. So let's go check on the chat, see what's going on in there. So I see my good friend, fellow content creator and moderator is in there, the Mercenary Terror. Thanks for joining, buddy. Make sure you check out his channel, as well as another fellow friend and content creator, Big Blade 297. Make sure you check him out as well, guys. We got the homie Michael Cooper with us again, as well as Lumega123. Man, you just keep adding to that name. It was Lumega 1, 2, and 3. Now it's perhaps 4 and 5. You killing me? That's hilarious. But thanks for joining us, Lou. And let's see, we got the homie Lord Avix is with us. Thanks for joining us, Lord Avix. We got the good friend LJ Gaff. And let's see, Tony B is in here again with us. Thanks for joining us, Tony B. As well as, like I mentioned earlier, the good homie Soldier is in here. And Soldier says, done already. Dang. Like, yeah. Dude, I have a tendency with these events. I hammer through them, man. Like, I don't like events that much. I just hammer as much as I can out on day one. And I just get it done, man. I like enjoying my weekends, chilling out. So yeah, I just hammered through it. Let's see. Big Blade said he got to 17.5K. So working his way towards the 4 star. You're making good progress then. If you can work him toward the 4 star, you'll definitely should be able to pull that off at that rate. Mercenary Terror is not doing the event. Michael Cooper's at 31.3K. Nice. Yeah, said Lou said Mrs. Lumega was loved doing as well. She loves anything non-gaming, non-transformers. I bet, man, we spend a lot of time on this game, so when they see us not on that, I'm sure she was happy. Let's see, Big Joe. Thanks for joining us again, homie Big Joe, and he says he's at 31.6. You're on pace. I know you typically like to finish the event, so yeah, just keep hammering it out, buddy. Hopefully, I give you some guys some entertainment or whatever while you're just working on your event. Let's see, we got Oil Man in here. Thanks for joining, Oil Man. Uh, let's see. Mm, Yeah, Big Blade. That is a good point. Big Blade talking about the flare mines, melt and drift. I'm gonna show you what he looks like with this G1, man. This G1 is with the G1, which I already have on the lab server. Bro, he's kind of pressure for real. Ooh, Big Joe got 5 star Scylla and sights. Nice. And dude, like, so Big Blade says he thinks that Drift is now going to beat Pipes' rival. What people keep saying, Pipes will forever be number one. The biggest thing here, the biggest difference, and the reason why top players aren't going to use this bot as much, they're not going to use Drift and Barricade as much, is because they don't have the shield. But when you use that G1, and you guys have heard me say on numerous occasions, I'm not a huge G1 core fan. This is one of the G1 cores that I happen to really, really like a lot. So we're going to show that here in a bit. Let's see. Yeah, LJ Gavin, we still gotta have that talk because he said remember to include combiners in the legacy batch, which Dale says he's interested in doing that. We gotta try to get that working. I see the homie Jamie Carpenter's in here. Thanks for joining. Randall Hamilton is with us again, and he says he's at 34K. Uh, my one of my good buddies from the Horde, Ripping Griff, is in here. He's at 33.3K. So we're starting to see a lot of people are right around that same spot. Uh, my other homie, Reason to Live, is in here. Thanks for joining, Reason. All right, so Soul asked me what was my secret for wars. Uh, I mean, I'm assuming you mean events, because finishing in one day isn't easy. God Neptune, God Neptune and Ruination. I just I spam them. I go use my Shanix, and I just spam them through Zone 15. And yesterday I didn't have to work, so since I didn't have to work, I just fired through the event. And I had like a nice nap too. I had like a 2.5, 3 hour nap in between. Got back up, finished the event. I think I was at about 55K at that point before I took a nap. So I didn't even push myself hard. Jamie Carpenter's at 50K. Yeah, everybody. It's a couple of people asking me my secret. That's my secret. God Neptune. Run the Shanix and just keep spamming God Neptune. Nemesis Enforcers in the chat again with us again. Thanks for joining. Oh, that's who you are. So I say oil man. So that's my buddy Skinny or whatever. Yeah, cause I had got used to remembering your name that you had up there before. So yeah, thanks for joining Skinny. Yeah, and Big Joe said he's gonna be at about 50K at the end of the day. So yeah, that's good. That's just good to have a target. I mean, like 70K, it's a lot, but when you're used to hammering out events like this, it's not a lot. So cool, guys. Yeah, good crowd today. Thanks for joining. So we're gonna go to the battlefield. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about this barricade rework again. I'm not gonna go into too much detail because we already gone through it a bunch. Uh, Speed doesn't stack. So earlier today I was just playing around with him. I'm not gonna use Roller Force because speed doesn't stack. Granted, Roller Force could work with the rest of my team. Dude, I hate that because of drift and the animations and everything with them having the swords and stuff like that. I just really wish I could use like a melee combat so bad. I never wanted to use a melee combat as bad as I wanted to use on these spots, but here we are. This is what we get. Um, One of the huge drawbacks for the bot, but it is what it is. You can use a minion or whatever. Eh, just because I'll stick growl up there. Not saying anything about the particular pairing. I've not found a combat pairing that I actually really, really love with him. But the key thing I wanted to look at, and I was just started playing around with it this morning, really, is that G1 barricade core. So this says your attacks heal you. This is the maxed out G metal. So your attacks will heal you for 20% of the damage done. Your attack speed is also increased by 14.5%. So when you look at that ability, and you look at it with ability 11, that enrage state is already 12 seconds long. You're going to have a stealth charge. You're going to have decent damage to the final target. We're just under 4.6k. But the key thing here is when you're enraged for a 5 star, you're going to get 40%. I want to say on the 4 star, it's like 25%. Um, so you gain that amount of damage as well as the 40% life steal, attack speed, and movement speed. So I think all of those numbers are at 25, if I remember correctly, for the 4 star version. So not bad. Space APAS said, I know just in the conversations with Dale, that he wants the 5 star to have something special compared to the 4 star versions. Totally okay with that. And yeah, so let's give him a run, see how he looks with that G1. So the question that I got from Soldier is, now that I have the 5 star for lockdown, am I going to use him on my war team? I doubt it, and it is. I will say this: it is tempting. If I were to use him at all, I would probably use him in place of a healer and try to go no healer, and it'll probably be something that I use in like wars that aren't hard wars. Like obviously, I'm gonna carry a healer with me in my hard wars. Um, he's fun. He is a lot of fun, and so I'm gonna use him it in some capacity. Um, but because he's a support type bot, I'm gonna use him in non-hard war related roles, if that makes sense. Like I don't think I can depend on him at the top level. I'm not gonna go take him and go fight one prime or something like that. Well, they're just prime now. But yeah, I'm gonna use them. I like them. I actually like them a whole bunch. All right, so this is right now we are in the prime zone, and man, this dude, his damage is so sick. But like, I want to pay special attention. I'm actually gonna use him in one of. I'll use him in like a hard league. It'll actually be Unicron League battle here in a minute. But dude, he's hard to kill when you use his G1 and his new ability. So they're trying to get away from, hey, we're just gonna throw a shield on the bot and give him extra health, a, you know, max HP boost. They're trying to go away from that and give us something a little bit different. Still giving them some warrior abilities. But like we mentioned earlier, when you go on and hit, a mine or something like that, he can't be taken out relatively easily, which is probably going to be the determining factor that prevents people from putting them on this war team. Yeah, and I was looking at the comment from Jamie Carpenter, who, when everybody was asking about my secret about the events, is like, yeah, that's he does the same thing. God Neptune, Ruination, you spam him in zone 15. You can, because his range is so great, he can go directly to the HQ, like without any issues. I'll actually do an example of it right now. Mercenary Terror says, now I will say this. He said I should put that on my merchandise because I say that a lot. Now, because, and here's the thing, when you're talking to a community like ours, we have a very, very passionate player community, right? And so sometimes you just got to take that second and you just got to stop and say, look, I want to be clear about something for a second. And, you know, that's my attention grabber because our community is so passionate. So, yeah. But to your point, I wouldn't mind putting that on some merchandise. Um, so yeah, this is how I've been getting through my event battles. Now this range is stupid, and honestly, there's been a lot of comments in playtest. Dude, this dude is overpowered to high hell, man. I mean, he's just strong, and I don't want to necessarily change him. And I've said this on the channel before. I don't want to change him because I do think that eventually defense catches up. I think that if Space 8 would have ran Phase 3, if they would have ran it earlier, he, he's probably all right. The problem is now, at some point, we're going to see the 5-star version of this dude. I think the 5-star should be about as powerful as what we have currently. This one should have never been that powerful. And I said that when we were in testing. Um, and it's cool. People want to make sure that they have good content. You get about one combiner a year. I get it. Um, he's strong, man, and he's got so much range, and I don't want to see him getting nerfed. Uh, but it is time for defense to catch up a little bit. Like the last couple of hard wars we had, um, like Horde had a war recently against against Scorch, and we lost, and we had like a total of like 11,850 points or something like that. Like it was crazy, and I actually had members from I had one member from Scorch message me, and he's like, "Man, this ain't right, dog. Like you guys lost a war when you scored 11.8k points. Like that's crazy." So hopefully they'll take some of the ideas from the Unicron tournament, run it, and we'll see how that goes. And I see Daniel Evans has joined us. Thanks for joining, Daniel, as well as Randall Hamilton. And Randall says he's got all the 5-star bots ready for when that 5-star comes out. I need to go. I need to start using some of my crystals because I've been working on my using my 5-star crystals to get rank. and I'm almost done with that. So I need to go get Scylla so that I can complete God Neptune 5 star. All the rest of the shit I got. Swoop is joining us again. Thanks for joining, Swoop. Big Joe says the defense called combiner tank should be created to take them out. Man, trust me, like, yeah, I wanted to see some stuff, man. Like the apes had it set up a little bit ago where for the Unicron tournament, like I said, it was like a 75% reduction in damage, and they were talking about reducing the damage on the Titan just for the Unicron tournament. And I was like, dude, that would have been crazy. And I had the first day that they did it like that, it was tough, but within the first 24 hours, I had figured out how I needed to approach it, and most of it is revolves around the build bots. So, and I see Astralon07 just joined. Thanks for joining. Oh, and he's just joining back into the game after a year. So, first off, welcome back. Um, Now we ain't talked about too much. We were just talking about the changes they made to Drift and Barricade. So, nothing crazy. All right. So, while I got you guys here, I want to go over the list of what we got going on with the new bots, the endurance bots. So let me pull that up. I got my notes on it. And I really want us to get testing on this bot. So I'm going to tell you what I know so far. I know people are starting to send out their their bid sheets for this. The event's in less than 2 weeks. So I think we gotta actually put some information out there for the players so they know what they're bidding on. And it sucks, right? Because I had a lot of players come up to me and ask, well, what should I do? Should I go into the event for lockdown and or huffer? And I was like, well, you got to do what you got to do. Um, if I and then Waza actually said the same thing on his stream the other day. If you can only play in one event, play in the endurance event, because when you look at these legacy batches, let's go actually pull up the bots real quick. So when you look at bots like Drift and Barricade, I mean, they made them much better than they were, in my opinion. But as a top player, are you sticking them into your war team? Probably not. We were just talking about, and Soldier mentioned it also in the chat. When you look at like Drift and Lockdown, it's cool. It's much better than it was. You're not probably sticking that one into your hard war teams. And so, one of the things that I like to highlight is that when I first started talking to Dale about these legacy batches, part of it is, yeah, we want to make them much better than before. I think he succeeded in that. Um, they're not necessarily trying to make these guys into top bots for top wars or anything like that. But they are really good and they're really fun. Like every last one of these guys, Drill Horn, when he came out as a 5 star, and when they did his rework, Drill Horn and Nose Cone, I like it. It's cool. It's fun. I had more fun in testing these legacy batches than I had in testing anything else in a couple of years. I've been doing it for like 2 or 3 years now. So yeah. So but I think that's the extent of it. They're not necessarily supposed to become top bots. They're just gonna become bots that you use, and you're gonna have fun with them. So keep that in mind. So yeah, the endurance bot is supposed to be something different though. I'm trying to go back to my notes about the new endurance bot. So for you guys who haven't heard, the endurance bots are, well, everybody knows the Beachcomber was coming as the Autobot. Everybody knew that. So I've been having a lot of people that didn't run. I thought Space Ape had already mentioned it, but the Decepticon is going to be Deluge, which that was already causing some confusion because in G1, Deluge is an Autobot. I think it's D in G2, I believe. I know Merc Terror is in there around somewhere. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I know that's my lore my lore head. Um, so yeah, he should be. I'm assuming it's going to be G2 version of Deluge. It's going to be the Decepticon. How they classified is joined us, so thanks for joining. And so Big Joe says I'm gonna have some big news. So the big news that was what happened was, so I was in there, I was setting up, getting all my stuff ready for stream yesterday, and they said, hey, we're gonna try to get you these endurance bots soon. So I said, well, I should delay my stream. I'm already, you know, 2 days late on when I would usually have my stream, and I wanted to show the endurance bots. But I did get a bunch of information about the endurance bots. So I'm gonna go over the list of what I have, and you guys can decide whether or not this is something that you might be interested in. And then next week, hopefully during the live stream, I can show you what's going on. So a few notes that I got from Dale. He says that stats wise, that this is probably going to be a warrior class bot. And so let's look at our current warriors. And he says that it's probably going to be the lowest damage of any warrior that we've had in the game. So warriors have been coming up in damage lately. So when I look at bludgeon, pretty high damage. I got him up there with Gabu um, currently, so that's gonna boost him a little bit. But like Barricade, you're looking at his 5-star, man. They got him at like 750 already, almost. So they've been coming up in damage over the years. Um, so but this one they said it's gonna be really, really low. But they said he's gonna have some crazy health points. And so I think right now the leader in health points, I think it might be, and I don't have her maxed out on here, but I think the leader might be Scylla in health points right now. So um, it's gonna be more than that, apparently. Um, and so instantly when Dale said that, before we even got anywhere else in playtest, there were a few players that were concerned because they was like, well, isn't Beachcomber kind of like a scout and not like a warrior? So he's gonna have like the highest health in the game, and a lot of people were already turned off. And a couple of concerns that I have are, if you try to go make a change in the bot class this late in the game, we're now less than 2 weeks away. Um, is that going to negatively affect the concept of what we're trying to do with this bot? Yeah, and I can see in the comments already, like Michael Cooper says, "Huh? Beachcomber is a warrior," and so for us that are trying to stay traditional to the lore, um, honestly, there's not another word that I can use. It's offensive to some of the guys that are looking at it strictly from a lore standpoint. So that was the first argument. To the point, I tried to calm that part of it down some, because it's so late in the game. We don't have the bots in our hands yet as playtesters. We're gonna have to try to squeeze all this stuff into about a week of prep. Um, do we want to change the bot class just to accommodate the lore? I can't really answer that. Um, sh- it, if at all possible, I like to stay as lore accurate as possible. But what they want this bot to do, it might strongly depend on his bot class. So let's look at the other notes that he gave us. So one of the ideas they have for attack is to, they're not going to have them attack that often. The damage is going to be low. So their strength is going to be supporting the team. So to support the team, they got a series of passive attacks. So one of the ones they're talking about is giving them ability that's going to grant damage absorption to the rest of the team. Right, so that's a passive attack. There's going to be another passive attack that is going to have a little bit longer of a duration in between passives, but then this second passive attack is supposed to add 10% damage boost to an area. And then these also supposed to have a high pressure fluid shot. Not really sure what that's going to do yet. We were talking about it a little bit in playtest earlier, where we were speculating that it might be something similar to what we get out of Ruination and God Neptune. I don't want to say that that's the case yet. I don't know for sure. But I have been pushing since God Neptune and Ruination. I've been pushing to the apes. I say, hey, you have to definitively say what water does in this game, because we know what fire does, we know what acid does, we know what electric does, all these other elements. We know exactly what they do. You have to put a classification on what water does in this game, because right now, this water ability, we're discussing not having it do any damage. So if it doesn't do any damage, what does it do? So that's where we're kind of at. Now let's talk about what we're expecting for the ability itself. So the ability itself, they say you're supposed to be able to take. What we're thinking is the ability is going to, hold on, because I just lost my spot on the screen. But it's supposed to be like you're supposed to be able to cast invisibility. Now, without actually seeing it, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I kind of expect something. I kind of expect it to be a casting ability similar to, and I know you guys probably think I'm obsessed with him at this point, but I picture something like Junk Heap, where you're casting, like for him, you're casting a revive. In this case, you're supposed to be able to cast invisibility. Um, Now, while those bots are invisible for whatever that duration looks like, they're also supposed to be able to hack any defenses and bots that are near them. So, like, say I go use this ability and I cast it on a member of my war team, especially if like I'm using like a rush tank or something like that, will I be able to hack these bots? So that should be cool. The ability 11, they said it's supposed to be able to attract nearby defenses, engulf them in a golden glow that's going to reflect, um, where you're going to engulf yourself in a golden glow, and that is going to be able to have some sort of reflection while that chosen ally is invisible, and also doing the hack. Now, the hack ranges are going to change depending on the star level. Um, at least that's the initial idea. And then there's going to be a G1 with it as well. That's supposed to, they're thinking about boosting ability damage for the rest of your team for a period of time. I don't know how long that's going to be. They're discussing 10 seconds. So that's what we're looking at so far. Um, like I said, hopefully we get this bot early in the week and I can actually talk about him on the stream and show some gameplay for them. But based off of what I said so far, let me know what you think in the chat so far. I will say the initial reaction from playtesters was extremely positive. Uh, the argument, well, I won't say it was an argument. It wasn't even a debate. It was the concern that came from the playtest side was that this bot is going to be, that they're looking at making it a warrior class bot. And that was really the majority of the concern. I do have some additional concerns. I did bring them up this morning because um, that hack ability, they said there were some concerns I had about the duration that they proposed, uh, because it seemed like it was going to be a continuous loop of hacking. I don't think that would be cool, but it does let me know that there's a possibility that it could be usable on defense. So if if it goes the way that I think it's going to go, right now we're just speculating, but we do have a concept of what Space Safe thinks it's going to do. So let's check and see what the chat says about this. LJ Gaff says lore says one thing normally in game another, so I don't favor lore. Uh, I seem to get Big Blade's attention with water. Yeah, and then Michael Cooper kind of confirmed about the G2 Deluge Decepticon Water Changer. And I see Jaywalk04 joined us, and he says he's sitting at about 44K right now. And he's already maxed Tiger Hawk. That's dope. Debating about completing the event or not. Not too hyped about Huffle. Not and understandable. A lot of people just saying, nah, man, I ain't going for it. So I get it. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Big Joe said a water shield, maybe. I will say this. I said it again, Merc. So the apes has specifically said, we're trying to not do everything with a shield, man. Like we have done shields to death. So I do know they're probably going to try not to do more shields. Um, I have noticed the pattern that Dale is. He's pretty heavy on reflection, and let's be honest, reflection hasn't been as good since FFD. Since Force Field Disruptor Power Course came out on the build bots, it's been difficult. Because back then, everybody loved Hotspot and Tantrum, so maybe we can do something that's going to kind of replace that. I don't know yet. And we'll say, well, hopefully, I'll know this week. Also, see some comments about it possibly negating acid and fire. That would be dope and probably needed. And I know who Mercenary Terror wanted. He wanted Jaguar. Um, a lot of people actually, yeah, you were the first person I think that said it, but I know a lot of people were saying, man, bring in Jaguar. So that's not it. They're doing Deluge. Michael Cooper says make him a healer. Astroline07 says that this concept sounds pretty good. Big Blade says I'm a bit lost on concepts, but water would definitely be welcome. I agree. Water definitely would be welcome. Big Blade also added that can officially cut out the acid meta nonsense. And the acid meta is kind of slowly starting to, I think it's starting to fade on its own. For me, I started using, um, what's the boy name? The turtle dude, Half Shell. I started using him. So people started using Half Shell and Roadbuster. And just for, because you're thinking about taking out Liege on defense primarily. So then there's that. Let's see what other comments we got. Daniel Evans says I would go for it if I could reach it. Michael Cooper says making Beachcomber a warrior but leaving Braun a scout is honestly one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. And yet, and that's one of the things that when we look at it from like a lore aspect, I mean, in the play testers um, echo what you guys are saying about it being a warrior. And to be honest with you, I did kind of speak against trying to go change the bot class because it's late in the game. Not because I think he should be a warrior. It's so late in the game that if we go make a change that massive, it is gonna be absolute hell to try to balance this bot. Just just is. So I think we gotta leave him like that as a warrior. And I think we gotta leave him like as a support type and see where it goes because I think it's too late to make those large changes. Yes, I did, Jaywalk. Jaywalk says, did I catch that the apes gave Drift Bug Strike for the challenge battle? Yes, I did catch that. So, and I forgot that that was a thing because, as I said earlier, I thought one of the reasons that they weren't carrying melee combat bots was because of Drift. So, but he says they changed it now. But yeah, I did catch that. My good friend Jay Funk joined us and he says, is this where we talk about our feelings? Yeah, this is where we talk about our feelings, particularly when they relate to the game. Oh, okay. Well, I misspoke then. Tara wants me to let you guys know that he was not the first person to talk about Jaguar. That was Robert C. Ford, Chopperface, Jettison Wade, whatever. He got like so many aliases. But so I apologize to Robert C. Ford. He was the one that said that first. Mm, yeah, so but all right. So, yeah, that's what we got going on in regards to the endurance bots. I really get my fingers crossed that I can show you guys something on Wednesday so that we can start to hash out whether or not this bot like in my alliance we started doing the bids yesterday and like people's like I don't know anything about this bot. A lot of people didn't even know who the Decepticon version was, so um, I wanted to put out as much information as I could ahead of time and then just continue to give you guys information as the week goes on. And hopefully, it'll be in enough time for everybody to make an educated decision about the bots. So, I already put my bid in though. I'm going for it. I'm going to level some more bots, and obviously, it doesn't take me that much time. So, that's what we're going to do. All right. I'm actually going to let me go into the lab for a second because I want to go to my live account and I need to access my live account because I want to talk about these Unicron war effects. And that's for the Prime League players and stuff like that. They're going to, or the top teams going to the Unicron tournament. But one thing I will say is that I said it again, Mert. I, I, I'm always cautious of things that I see in regards to defensive changes because there's always the potential for them to go into just regular Prime League. So even if you're not one of these top teams, I think it's important to pay attention to these effects just because I'm actually, instead of sitting here in the lab, let me go back to that section in the newsletter so we can actually see what those effects are again for those who might have forgot. So those are going to be the effects. And while I'm getting my live account set up, we can kind of take a look at that. Ripping Griff says he's not going to be able to do the endurance this to go around. He's going to be vacationing in in Disney in Florida. I tell you what, I would much rather be doing that for sure. So yeah, I hope you had a good time out there, buddy. Uh, I'm sure it's a vacation is very well deserved. Hey, J Funk says I want to talk about the he said I want to talk about the Unicron tournament because I got a 300 in it. Now, bro, like, so I will say this: I got a little bit of an advantage from having seen them in playtest. Most of the major alliance families do have testers in there. Um, I studied that shit really, really hard. Like, I studied the hell out of that Unicron tournament until I felt like I knew what I was doing. So the result was, yeah, I came back out and got a 300 on that particular one just because I've been working on it now. When we get to play all the other teams and those teams have adjusted their bases, that might be a different story. There's a lot of people that are having a hard time with these effects. And I think most of it revolves around, as you can see on the screen, a lot of it revolves around those build bots. Those build bots and their shielding make a huge difference in how you prioritize an attack. Big Blade said he ain't interested in wars, and I get it. Everybody plays for different reasons. I love war primarily, and people are actually surprised how quickly I can hammer out an event because I hammer them out quickly because I hate them, and I know that eventually I'm going to slow down over the course of the weekend. And for some reason, I cannot get into my live account, so I might have to wind up talking about this stuff on my test account. But that's just like some of these things it's just better just to look at on the live server. But for whatever reason, oh, you know what? That's because I'm not on the Wi-Fi on my phone. That would explain a lot. All right. So let me get this off the screen and we will go over to, oops, what is going on? Okay, so now I gotta put this up. Yeah, I probably need to go back to the lab. All right, and then I want to go to gameplay. And I need to, oh, I need to change this. I'm still in BlueStacks. All right, cool. Now I'm into the main screen. I just got to let it load. Oh, nice. Rip and Griff got a pass for for everything. You got Universal and whatchamacallit, Disney. Daniel Evans asked, "What's Dubby?" Dubby is it's an all natural energy drink. I'm actually I actually sell it. It's part of my sponsor. It's one of my sponsors, well, my only sponsor. But it's all natural, man. It's like it's made from like I want to say it's like a coffee bean extract that it's made from. It's really good too. Like I actually got some on top of my fridge that I drink in the mornings, so it's pretty good. All right, so I actually want to. So this is what the scores look like. So we're doing a practice war against our Alliance family mates over in DJD, and it worked out pretty good for me. But you can see, man. Let me see if I can get one of my replays up there for base one. Man, it's tough, dude. So this is what we look like. So this is my new war team. Well, I still had Hook in this particular replay. But man, when you go look at the fact that it has those build bots and everything up there, it is pretty challenging. Now base one, I was able to deal with um I was able to deal with, okay. But it takes a little bit of time in this stuff. So when you go add like another 30% to this particular thing, and then you go add the build bots, and the build bots are shield and everything, what it does is it stop you from being able to one shot kill really anything. So that's how that worked out. And the scores are starting to get lower. I honestly can see these effects becoming the new Prime League effects after people start to get used to them at the top leagues. Um, I don't know if that's going to be a popular choice. I mean, they are difficult, but I think we got to get through phase three first. Now, I will say from a strategy standpoint, one of the things that I started looking at is I started looking at making sure that I get the build bots out early. And I honestly think that what they should have did was add some damage resistance to the build bots. I was watching Waza stream the other day, and even in playtest, he said the same thing that he wanted to get invincible build bots. Now, I don't necessarily want to do that. I think that anything that shows up on the battlefield, you should have an opportunity to defeat. But I would like to see him not just, I would like to see him just not easily taken out. Because right now, guys are using smoke screen and breakneck. They're using skull smasher and warpath skull cruncher because I know mercenary terror is watching. They'll use different bots like that in order to just take the build bots out quickly. Um, what I would like to, what I started doing, particularly on certain loadouts or something, certain designs, is what I started doing is just using God Neptune to take them out. And the reason why I use God Neptune to take them out, as you could see from earlier, is God Neptune and Ruination. They have awesome range, so I'm probably going to be able to reach those locations. But when you use that 4-star ability, it is going to cover so much area. Like you can actually see them here. When I start using that ability, it just covers so much area. Look how many. That's got to be about 7 or 8 blocks away. If you look at where I use that ability, and it's got the water on the shield generator from where I started. That makes it easy to take out build bots. J Funk says I'm talking reckless. How so? But that's what I'm saying though. I mean that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at is taking out the build bots like that. Michael Cooper says, "What combat am I using on Octo Punch?" I'm using the Cosmic Rust Blaster. I know it's not popular, but it does pair well with the way that I got the rest of my bots loaded out because I got Fireline behind them. I got Fracas 5 and 4-star behind them. To me, it just makes sense. And then if I use the Octo Punch ability, I just maxed them out this weekend. Then that means that I'm also able to kind of use combo his ability with the Cosmic Rust Blaster. Oh, you saying I'm talking reckless about changing the build? But man, hell yeah, bro. I want to see people go into the Unicron tournament and cry. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna keep it a band with you. I want to see hurt feelings because we gotta be able to see what's what. And long live the horde. I think we'll take the tournament. But I want to see who's really about this stuff, man, because it's easy if we can stick to the same concepts all the time. I'm actually in the process of writing a strategy guide, like an actual ebook right now on how I develop my teams, just so people can have something to refer back to when they want to go look at this stuff. But dude, like we're we we've been making too many of this onesie twosie bot changes. Like I want, and even now, you can still make little onesie twosie bot changes. But what I did here is I actually started adding junk heap, and I even said in my team chat, I was like, you guys are probably gonna laugh at me, but I maxed out the whole first half of the event because I was gonna say the first day of the event, but the whole day was the first day of my event. Uh, I did it in one day. I started using junk heap, and the other things that I started using, I'm using that Nexus Prime Core. Now I'll tell you, I hate that I'm using this on a healer. I would rather use it on a bot that I would rather have on an outpost bot that I use, and then also use on offense. That's just not where I'm at right now with my teams. So I actually flipped that Nexus core back and forth between one of my outpost bots and my healer. But like you'll see, and it doesn't show it accurately here, but at the end of this battle, I actually use Junk Heap to keep my rush tank to keep bludgeon alive at the end. And they don't actually show him dying, but he actually died on that battle, and I got him back, and he was able to keep me in the fight. Big Blade wants to show me their team. Yeah, yeah, just shoot me a message. I'll look at your team. Hey, yo, Jay Walk says high pressure fluid shot. Maybe change that name. And
Noted. I get where you're coming from. Yeah, and that might not actually wind up being the name of the ability, but that's the way it was specifically worded when they were talking about it. Mm-mm-mm. I see we get some talk in the chat about Trigger Happy. Now, Trigger Happy does really, really good damage. He is expensive. What I always tell people is this, and so even when I was in Discord yesterday, using Junk Heap as an example, super expensive. I'll probably use them twice, and I'll probably use them in certain situations, like when these backloaded bases where all the resources are up in the front. That's when I want to use them the most because for me, that's the best time to use them because I know I'm going to go get those ability points back soon. The problem is I got to use my combiner before I go use the ability so I don't lose the ability. And that's one of the things that made people not desire Junk Heap and Wreck-Gar as much as they do other bots. Um, Particularly that and the fact that his healing's lower, that and the fact that he's got multiple counters. Um, yeah, he's got multiple counters, and the ray blockers and FFD. So yeah, that's why a lot of people. But if I'm saying I'm taking the build bots out first, now the counters are gone. If I just got to make sure that I use him after I go use the combiner, and then everything's good. But I do like to see that Michael Cooper says he likes the Rust Blaster. I'm glad I'm not the only one because I always people always talk trash to me about it. It's like, why are you using that? Like, just use, 3-star fracas. I say, nah, I'm gonna use this in hopes that I get to knock down something faster and help with the pathing. But all right, guys, I am going to call it for this stream. Like I said, make sure you check me out. I will be on as regular on Wednesday. I'm off this week, so I'm probably going to put a bunch more videos out. I still owe you guys that video for the last part of the interview with Dale, so I'll probably do that tomorrow. I was supposed to do it on Wednesday. I got a little bit too busy to go build the thumbnail and everything like that. But yeah, Wednesday, hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be able to show you guys these new endurance bots. If not, I will make a separate video for that. I still might, to be honest with you, because I got the time off to work on content this week. So this week and next week actually. So, but all right, guys, I will see you next time, and more importantly, I'll see you on the battlefield. Freezius out.